Blue resumed her scarf patrols in Iran and 2 died after emergency. The Deputy Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly, Southwest Nigeria, Honorable Apitemi Akinyode, has attested to the fact that recently screened commissioner nominees are men and women of proven integrity in the state. Honorable Yewuse, who gave the assurance today in Oshogbo, Osun State capital, while exchanging views with OSBC News on the caliber of commissioners designate, stressed that the screening exercise will be completed this week. The Deputy Speaker, who is the Chairman, House Ad Hoc Committee on the screening exercise, commended the State Executive for the selection of men and women that will make the state proud. According to him, the credentials of the now commissioners designate were thoroughly scrutinized to ensure that they are competent and ready for the task ahead. Honorable Akinyode, however, noted that the Constitution does not empower the State Assembly to screen and scrutinize the personality of the special advisors as it does on the commissioner nominees sent to the House for verification.
These people, they are competent because they came to the House, saw their credentials, even they brought their original credentials with the clearance of Code of Conduct review. The committee, they have ample of time to ask them questions, and which they responded satisfactorily. These people, they are full of experience, former commissioners, bankers, accountants, IT guru, and others. They will perform. I can tell you categorically that they will perform. Section 193 is the section of the governor. I believe we are going to, finish our own work this week. The confirmation will be sent to the governor this week. The Constitution doesn't give us power to do that. We can and we might not, but in the Constitution, it gives governor power. Section 193, to appoint SAs, special advisors.
It's straight.
It doesn't discuss confirmation or no confirmation. That one depends on the Mr. Governor. Do you understand? We are working with the side of the law. So whatever the law states, we do it. We are lawmakers and we have to follow the Constitution.
Osun State Chairman of Trade Union Congress TUC, Comrade Adekola Adebowale, says the suspended Osun State civil servants staff auditing exercise will resume today in Oshogbo, Oloruda, Orulu, and Irepo State constituency. This is a sequel to the outcome of emergency meeting of all the stakeholders in the state's verification exercise with representatives of labor, government, a consulting firm handling the exercise. Comrade Adebowale, who is also the chairman of the Association of Senior Civil Servants, said this in Oshogbo, while exchanging views with OSBC News on the present stage of the staff auditing exercise that was put on hold last week. According to him, the exercise had been decentralized and will be held across the 9 federal constituencies of Osun State. Comrade Adebowale said the meeting among the union leaders, government representatives, and the consulting firm resolved at the anomalies of the earlier process. He advised all categories of workers not to entertain any fear on the exercise, rather cooperate with its firm to enable government to achieve the desired result. He speaks further.
To do our work diligently, and they will remove this phobia or the phobia that the government has intention to work against their interests. There's nothing of such. And then I want to say it that the government is not planning to retrench or to sack or to remove anybody for his duty stations. So we should not have any plan of any kind. We should work diligently, and that's why the fifth columnists, we just want to appeal to them that this is purely service matter. This is purely between the employer and the employee. The employer wants to ascertain what he has in stock, what kind of workers he is working with, the necessary thing, maybe he is taking along making new recruitments, and which ministry or agents of government that you want to recruit. So you want to know the capacity. There's nothing so anybody should not just put their long spoon to turn the meal that you are enjoying the Osun State.
Hundreds of homes have been destroyed by a ravaging fire in a poor neighborhood of the South African port city of Durban One person reportedly died in the blaze that tore through the Kennedy Road in an informal settlement early today, but there are fears that somebody's could be found. Sympathizers sought the twisted remains of corrugated iron sheets used to build the shacks amid the smoldering debris, while some residents are trying to salvage their belongings. Meanwhile, the cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. However, some eyewitnesses say it started when two people who had been drinking got into an argument. A South African Red Cross spokesperson described it as a disaster and estimated that about 1,000 shacks may have been destroyed, leaving about 3,000 people homeless. Information has it that Red Cross had been distributing hot meals, mattresses, and blankets to those affected, and he appeals to the public for more donations. This is the World at Noon, coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Voice of the West, Nigeria. Now, our news message. Peace and tranquility are essentials of stability. Let us embrace peace at all times. Nigerian police are resuming controversial patrols to ensure that women obey dress codes and cover their hair in public. According to reports, the police coordinate Morality Police Unit will return to the streets to enforce Iran's hijab laws. It comes 10 months after a young woman, Maisa Amini, died in custody following her arrest in Tehran for allegedly breaking the dress code. Her death triggered massive national protest, and the patrols were paused in the interim. However, Islamic headliners have been demanding that the patrols be resumed for some time under Iranian law, which is based on the country's interpretation of Sharia. Women must cover their hair with headscarf and wear long, loose-fitting clothes to disguise their figures. The Morality Police Unit is tasked with ensuring that those rules were enforced and respected, and detaining people who are received to be improperly dressed. Russian officials say 2 people have died after what they called an emergency on the bridge linking the occupied Crimean Peninsula to Russia. The incident has not been called an attack, but unconfirmed reports said explosions were heard early today. The Kerch Bridge was opened in 2018 and enables road and rail travel between Russia and Crimea, Ukrainian territory held by Moscow's forces since 2014. In October last year, it was partially closed following a major explosion. The bridge, which is an important supply route, fully reopened in February. Japan's Prime Minister, Mr. Fumio Kishida, is expected to visit the United Arab Emirates today. The trip will be his first to the Emirates as Prime Minister and part of a Gulf tour that began with a visit to Jeddah. He will head to Doha after the United Arab Emirates. Mr. Kishida is due to hold talks with President Sheikh Mohammed on reinforcing economic ties that dates back more than 50 years. Japan is one of the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with the Emirates in 1972. The Emirates is also Japan's 7th largest trading partner globally and one of its main suppliers of oil over the past half-century, meeting 20% of the Asian countries' oil needs. And here again are the highlights of the World at Noon. The Deputy Speaker, Osun State, Southwest Nigeria, Honorable Abidemi Akinyode, has attested to the fact that recently screened commissioners' nominees are men and women of proven integrity. Iranian police are resuming controversial patrols to ensure that women obey dress codes and cover their hair in public. And hundreds of homes have been destroyed by a ravaging fire in a poor neighborhood of the South African port city of Durban. And officials say 2 people have died after what they called an emergency on the bridge linking the occupied Crimean Peninsula to Russia. And that was the World at Noon, edited by Olushola Egbedofo and delivered by Olushayo Babatunde. In today's news talk, Latif Agbola of our editorial beat recalls the various cases of religious intolerance leading to breakdown of law and order in Nigeria and calls for mutual understanding and respect among other adherents of different beliefs.
A Muslim group in Ilorin, Kwara State recently stumped the residents of a traditional religion place to impose a ban on any form of Iseshe festival in 4 local governments in the state, earlier scheduled for the 22nd to 24th of June months in Ilorin, and listed the 4 local governments in the state where any form of traditional religion is prohibited. They were Ilorin West, Ilorin East, Ilorin South, and Asa. Members of the group said the visit was prompted by reports of an imminent traditional festival known as Isese, planned by the priest Yeye Adeshikemi Olokun. Meanwhile, in a statement by a spokesperson, Abdulaziz Arowana, the emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Zulu Gambari, said the ban on the traditional festival is to prevent crisis, in reaction to the open letter by Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka, who criticized the ban of the festival. The emir stressed that the emirate should not wait until crisis will erupt, as the cost of managing it cannot be equated to the wisdom and courage required to prevent such. In a recent and first interview after the controversy, the traditional worshipper who said he was not born into traditional religious practice but a foray into the religion is self-indoctrination, disclosed that she was a prophetess in a spiritual church before she became a traditionalist. Adeshikemi Olokun said she was helping a philanthropist handling the building of a mosque for Muslims in the area to have a befitting mosque to hold their Jummah service. Stressing that when Prophet Muhammad started to expand Islam, he was able to convert the non-Muslims because of his good character. Nigeria has over the years experienced religious-induced crises, most of which were avoidable. For instance, in 2015, traditional worshippers allegedly attacked church members in Ikoya, Okitiwukpa local government area of Ondo State, where the annual traditional festival was fixed on the same day with the conventional Sabbaths of Christians, resulting in the attacks, during which property worth millions of nairas were destroyed. Similarly, Egungun worshippers in June 2021 attacked members of a Muslim society who were holding a program in front of their mosque at Oluode Arani, a local area of Osogbo, Osun State capital. A life was lost while many sustained injury. In another instance, in March this year, some Muslim candidates for the mock test of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB were reportedly denied entry into a Christian-based university in Ota, Ogun State for wearing hijab. JAMB later apologized and rescheduled the exams for the affected female candidates. In a related development, a student simply identified as Zebra of the Sheikh Shagai College of Education, Sokoto, was allegedly beaten and burned to death on allegations of blasphemy during a hot argument with her colleagues on a WhatsApp platform. Cases of religious intolerance leading to breakdown of law and order are enormous in the country. At this juncture, it is pertinent to note that Nigeria is a multi-religious country where everybody is allowed to practice a religion of his or her choice. Hence the need for a high level of tolerance and religious harmony. Some believe Nigeria is a secular state, but scholars say there is a clear difference between secularity and religious multiplicity. Whether secular or multi-religious, the lesson Nigerians must learn is that we can live together in peace and tranquility without belonging to the same religion. It should be recalled that former governor of Osun State, Ogbeni Rofar, had in 2013 approved August 20 as a public holiday in the state for traditional worshippers, and the Ogun State House of Assembly on the 11th of July 2023 also declared August 20 as a Sese Cultural Day in the Gateway City. Interestingly, the motion for resolution approved by all during a plenary session chaired by the Speaker of the House, Honorable Lakunle Oluomo, was moved by the majority leader of the House, Honorable Yusuf Sherif, who is a Muslim, which the minority leader, Honorable Lukman Adeleye, another Muslim, seconded. It is our belief that that was the right way to go, as to have an egalitarian society. Newstalk is of the opinion that Nigerians can live peacefully if adherents of various faiths respect one another's different beliefs. After all, religion is said to be of the mind. Hardly can anyone find a family in Yoruba land that does not have the three religions, Islam, Christianity, and traditional worships. What then is the basis of disagreement? We call on security agents and the judiciary to always treat religious crisis in accordance with the constitution of the land, and whoever